afternoon or good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us today, no matter where or what time zone you are hailing from. Thank you for being with us. Today at Lulu, it is Webinar Wednesday. So if you are registered and you are attending and logging in right now, then you are interested, hopefully, in hearing about low and no content publishing to boost your brand. So I see some folks have already started hopping in. I don't see anybody in the chat yet. So let's see, who will be the first to start us off? Oh, well, why not me? Why not lead by example? Hey, everyone. Happy Wednesday. All right, so that was a pretty inspired first message that I will put out into the ether, and hopefully you guys will hop in and join me. Let us know where you're from, what you're working on. If you, thank you, Anna Marie, where you're from, what you're working on. If you have dabbled in low or no content publishing before, we will obviously be covering all of this, but let us know. Hello. Hey, Reverend Scott, Melissa, James, David. Hello, hello, hello. So as we're getting started, just a couple housekeeping things from you. Hey, Nico, Mondi, hello. So just a few housekeeping things. Everyone who is registered for this webinar will receive a recording of the presentation. We'll also put it on our YouTube channel in about 24 hours or so. So if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you can go search for Lulu University. That's kind of one of the programs that we put out. We also have a lot of e-commerce information we've been sharing recently. So definitely like and subscribe if you are not following us there. Oh, Melissa, oh my gosh, it's your birthday. Oh gosh, well, pressure's on now. I am so honored that you chose to spend this sliver of birthday with us. So happy birthday to you. I hope this is the best year ever. All right. Yes. Yeah. Melissa, you're getting some happy birthdays in the chat. You guys are awesome. So yeah, drop in some happy birthdays to Melissa. Let's all wish her well, all the positive vibes out that way. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I am Chelsea. I am with Lulu, and I will be your guide today through all things low and no content publishing, but I'm not alone. So my co-pilot today is Anna Marie. She's pulling the levers in the background. Anna Marie is our project manager at Lulu. She keeps all the wheels on the bus, if you will, keeps all of us in line, and helps us all stay on track and create wonderful content like we have today. So if you have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and dive into our presentation. Please drop your questions in the chat. Y'all are always so good about that. I will be answering questions at the end, and Anna Marie will be noting or just keeping an eye on it in case there's any other things that you can kind of grab or answer while I am going throughout today's presentation. And so without further ado, I will go ahead and get started. Again, thank you all so much for joining me. So you see Business Cat is here. That means we're about to get into it. All right, so a little bit about us to get started. A lot of you I know are familiar with Lulu, with what we do and who we are. But for anyone who is new to our tribe here, we are Lulu. Lulu is a real word. So interestingly enough, not just a fun thing to say, not just leggings. Lulu is a real word. And it means a remarkable person, object, or idea. So I would like to think that we're all Lulus here today. So we were founded in 2002 by Bob Young, who is also the co-founder of Red Hat Software. So if you're doing some quick maths, which I'm never able to do, but we just celebrated our 20th anniversary or 20th birthday. So that was very exciting. Celebrated that in February. So as you can see, a lot has gone on in those 20 years, but we're still free to publish. It's a free publishing platform that we offer. We published over 3.1 million books. So that's a lot of books printed in that time, and over $117 million in author revenue paid. So a staggering number. I can hardly say it every time I see this slide, but it's only grown since we created this slide. So a lot of good that's been done in that 20 years of Lulu. So our mission at Lulu is that we are dedicated to making the world a better place, one book at a time, through sustainable practices, innovative print-on-demand products, and a commitment to excellent service. Not just a bunch of fluffy words. We are also a certified B Corp, which helps us kind of keep our word, keep our promises, make sure that we are doing the best we can for the environment, but also for our employees and the authors and creatives and entrepreneurs that we serve. So if you're not familiar with B Corps, I always like to have this slide in here. B Corps are for-profit companies certified by the nonprofit B Lab to meet rigorous standards of social and environmental performance, accountability, and transparency. So basically for-profit companies who are just trying to do a little bit better for the world. If you're not familiar with B Corps and the B Corp movement, a ton of great, amazing brands have taken the pledge, signed up for certification. So if you are looking for a more sustainable, ethical way to spend your dollars, shop B Corp. All right. So now we're going to get into the main event. So low and no content publishing. So today we're going to talk about what this is, the many forms it can take. I will walk you through some great examples, show you how Lulu has some tools to kind of get you started right out of the gate if you want to go ahead and start playing around with this. But low and no content publishing is something that I came across, or I guess understood there was an actual term for after a few years being at Lulu. So at Lulu, every time we go to an event, and it's exciting that we're back in the real world, going to these live events again. And every time we do that, we always would bring these blank notebooks, or branded notebooks is how I would refer to them. And now, in the past several years, this low and no content publishing has really exploded, and people are seeing it as a very accessible way to create content, diversify revenue, keep their brand front and center. And we're going to talk about all that today. Okay, so what is low and no content publishing? So it is exactly the way that it sounds. It is literally publishing a project that has low or no content in it. So of course, the no content version of this would just be a blank notebook. So who doesn't love a blank notebook? I have so many notebooks, and yet even still, if I see a nice one, I am not hesitant to buy it. I mean, more notebooks than I can probably ever fill, but they're just so practical. It's always nice to have a place that you can kind of keep your thoughts, especially, everything is digital and online now. So having that tactile place experience to be able to really write things down. And there's also studies that say handwriting is good for memory and things like that, cognition. So a notebook can take many forms, just so versatile, and has a lot of benefits for not only the creator, but the recipient as well. So I've got an example here of a monthly planner that is sold on Lulu. This is Write Plan Do. And this is an example of low content publishing. So this is obviously a monthly planner, but I took a screenshot here of the interior. You can see a very basic setup. I mean, you've got, highly customizable on the inside. They didn't put dates here, so it can really work several years in a row. So I like what they've done here, and they've created this in multiple different covers and formats. So the great thing about low and no content publishing, as we'll get into, is that you create an interior file one time, you create a handful of different covers, and you're able to generate new streams of revenue and provide some customization opportunities for your audience, give them something of value, and experiment on your own with any design or content that you would like to include and share with your audience. So this is a great example. Write Plan Do is on the Lulu bookstore if you would like to take a look at the other products that they have. All right, so what is low and no content publishing? I showed you an example. I kind of talked about it a little bit, but let's really get into the nuts and bolts of what kind of forms this can take. So I pulled all of these examples from the Lulu bookstore. So people have already made these and are selling these on the Lulu bookstore. But if you're approaching this and thinking, okay, well, I know what a blank notebook is. Sure, I could make that. But is there anything else that I could utilize this for? Are there any other implications, or is there any other content that may be really useful for my audience that I can provide to them in a low content way? Again, saving you time and money, but providing something really valuable to your audience. So I'll walk through some of these examples. So journals, of course, a journal is such a catch-all term for really anything that you want your audience or your followers to be keeping track of. So a journal is a great way to kind of get your feet wet with this. Notebooks, of course, quickly follows under that. So going back to the example that I used of Lulu, whenever we go to events or sponsor an event or do anything like that, I always really like to bring notebooks with us. So not only is it a great way for us to get our brand messaging and our any product line or feature that we want to highlight, the notebook is a great way to do that. It's a great vehicle for that, but it's also adding value, especially at a conference. I mean, every time you go to a conference or an event, you're always taking notes. You want what you're there to learn. So the company that gives you that notebook, I mean, it's helpful for you, but then also when you get home from that event or later when you're going through your stuff or you need to jot something down and you grab that notebook, then you're seeing Lulu's messaging again. And then you're thinking, okay, well, maybe I didn't understand how this applies now, but it's been a couple months. I'm ready to revisit this information. Or, a couple years down the line and you are reminded that this platform, this company exists. You had a good experience with them. So the notebook is sort of like leaving a breadcrumb or a trail to your platform or to your services, or as an author, maybe even to your other books. So again, journals or notebooks are kind of the starting point for this, just because it's like a blank slate. You can include any information that you want in there. So for our notebooks that we would make for events, usually we would try to tie something in with the location or obviously the conference that we're going to. And then on the inside, we can kind of range from, is this conference really going to resonate with our B Corp messaging? Should we put information about that? Or for, if you guys have been following us or around recently, Lulu Direct, our e-commerce solutions, we've been talking about that a lot. So the conference we were at most recently was a Creator Economy Expo. So this is a lot of people who are looking for e-commerce solutions and how to sell their work directly, how to monetize their audience and their content. So for that, we were able to do a really highly customized and curated message for those attendees specifically. So the beauty of notebooks and low content publishing in general is that because there's not a ton of content in it, you can very easily customize it on the fly and make sure that your messaging is going to be relevant and resonate to the person who's receiving it at that time. So a couple ways that you can consider using this for your business, obviously journals, notebooks, but planners as well. I mean, I gave some great examples of Write, Plan, Do. Everybody loves a planner, especially, when we are at the beginning of the year, everybody's getting their New Year's resolutions out, or anytime throughout the year where you'd like to kind of get people back on track or have them thinking about their habits or their goals or reaching them. Planners are a great way to do that, especially for entrepreneurs and businesses. I mean, anyone who is starting out an entrepreneurial pursuit or even a creative project or a hobby, a planner is a great way to keep everything that you need in one place. You can have a planner for woodworking or for your social media strategy or for family time, making sure that you're taking time to be, spending time with the people that you love and letting them know that you care about them. So again, the possibilities are endless, so versatile. All right, so talking about family and spending time with them leads into gratitude journals. So this is something that we've seen, I think, maybe in 2018 was when we started seeing a lot of folks create in this genre. So gratitude journals. I mean, in this 24-hour crazy, very interesting time that we live in with the news cycle always going, it's very easy to find things to be stressed about. It's very easy to be negative, to be downtrodden. But gratitude journals are a great way for you to kind of balance that out and take a few minutes to say, hey, I have air in my lungs. I have another day to reach my goals, to try something new, to spend time with loved ones, whatever that case may be. So for you as a content creator, making a gratitude journal can have such wonderful mental health benefits for your audience. And again, something that can be very low lift on your end. We've seen gratitude journals that just say, today I'm thankful for. It's 100 pages of just that. You're giving the recipient the ability to do whatever they want with it and use it in the best way that's going to benefit them. You're just giving them the framework on how to think about, whatever the topic is that your journal, your gratitude journal in this example is about. So another great one, we see a lot of those in the Lulu bookstore as well. People who are making low or no content, gratitude journals is always a top pick. So next up, these two can kind of, these two can sort of go together. So habit tracker and fitness tracker. So maybe you are someone who is trying to encourage a new writing habit. So creating a journal or a habit tracker that's specifically focused on building your writing habit can be a great way to help your audience reach their goals and, again, build that trust with you and your brand. So a habit tracker or even a reading journal. When I was putting together this presentation, I saw that there was a reading log on Lulu, which I thought was great. I mean, I love reading books, but it's very rare that I can remember all the things that I liked about them when I read them. I was just thinking this year of how many books I've read this year. I don't know. It feels like a lot, but I wish I would have been writing it down. So even something like that, if you're an author and maybe you have a series out or you just plan on writing more books, why not put a reading journal in there? And obviously it doesn't have to be specific. The user doesn't have to only use it to track your books, but what a fun way to encourage reading and help support other authors as well by encouraging your followers to read, pick up your reading journal, and build that positive habit. So next up is a fitness tracker. Again, a ton of people on Lulu are using our platform to share their information on nutrition or best practices for diet and fitness. But these things take time. I mean, even if things like starting a new habit, starting a new skincare routine, starting a new nutrition regimen, it takes a while to get that down pat, get it into your routine and schedule, and also to start measuring benefits. So I really like habit and fitness trackers for things like, any new habits that you're building, but also any nutritional, dietary things you're trying to change, anything that's going to take long term. Maybe you're trying a new workout routine. It's unfortunately the results of that effort aren't going to manifest overnight. So being able to write down, hey, today I noticed my energy levels were higher based on what I did yesterday, or I've noticed that, I'm not feeling as tired after I eat, or, this meal plan seems to really work for me. I'm saving a lot of time. So being able to give your readers and your audience a place where they can sit down and just think about one task at hand and get out everything that they need to write or note about that one initiative can be really helpful in the long term, especially if you can tie something together with that, like a service or, again, other content. So maybe you have a book about nutrition, then you couple it with this fitness tracker or with this meal planner. And so your readers can not only learn from the content you put together in your book, but they can also track their experience with your content and how it's working for them, which can also help them share with other people and pinpoint exactly what they really enjoyed about what you're making. So a couple great examples there. The last one on this column, affirmations. So I always thought this was a really cool idea. There was a guy who years ago when I started working at Lulu, I remember coming across this project, and every year he would make a journal for himself that was just his favorite quotes that he'd come across from the previous year. So this is a micro example of what you could do with this. This gentleman was only doing it for himself, which I just thought was so amazing. But I love this idea because I think, as I mentioned earlier, it's so easy to be negative. It's not hard to go online and immediately be sucked into some negativity vortex. But maybe you could be on the side of good and help people keep their sanity by providing some affirmation journals. Maybe you pre-fill a couple, or maybe you allow the recipient to write their own and what's meaningful for them, but giving them a beautiful layout and a really nice cover so that they can do that and create that journey for themselves. And you're just sort of the facilitator of it. All right, next up, appointment books. So I think low and no content publishing, because it is so versatile, it can really work with any genre. So I kind of talked about, if you're a fiction author, making a reading log or something like that for your readers. I talked about if you are a fitness expert or you're into nutrition, kind of making it something you can couple with other content you might be making in those efforts as well. But what about small businesses? So, if you are a small business or if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to start growing something, then appointment books are very necessary. I mean, these could be tied into planners as well, but you need to stay on track, and not everyone likes scrolling through their phone to find things. Again, the tactile experience can be really helpful there. So an appointment book that is encouraging and fortifying to the small business, to the professional entrepreneur, can be a really fun thing for them to take ownership in themselves, and it really encourages them to, hey, I'm a business person. I have appointments. Maybe next they buy a watch. It's all coming together. All right, hair care. So this is another really cool one. I like this example that again I found on the Lulu bookstore. So like I was talking about skincare or fitness or nutrition, or you're starting a new workout routine, hair. It takes a while to get it right. It takes a while to grow it out. If you started a new regimen, maybe you started doing some sort of oil treatments or trying to use heat on it less, or taking a collagen or biotin supplement, whatever you're doing, it takes a while for those results to come to fruition. So being able to track what was the texture like, what did it look like, things like that. So again, a very cool example that I saw. Password keeper, I think, pretty self-explanatory there, unless you are a wizard and you're able to just keep it all at the forefront of your mind, or you use the same password. I almost just said my password that I use over and over again. So that's how badly I need one of these. All right, so password keeper is a great one. Dream journal. I love this. This is kind of a personal favorite of mine. I am a big fan of dreams. I dream quite often. I think that most of us do. But, you wake up in the morning with this jumble of weird memories, or like, why were you wearing a shoe as a hat and your mom had a mustache or whatever? So, we have these dreams that are just kind of an amalgamation of how our day was and our mind trying to process them. But when you take the time to kind of write them down, you can pick out different themes or things that you're starting to notice, or, your mind trying to work things out at night that are happening during the day. So I know that one's not for everybody. Not everyone really resonates with dreams and what's going on in those 8 to whatever hours that we have every night. But I think a dream journal is a really cool one, because again, if you don't write them down right when you wake up in the morning, then it's kind of gone. I mean, it's really hard to kind of piece them together right after that. So having a dream journal that's right by the side of the bed is great. Again, if you have some content around dream interpretations or what dreams mean, or even just getting good sleep, a dream journal, again, it can be a really nice way to invite your readers, your followers, your customers to kind of be self-reflective and get more out of their dreams. And it could also be not sleep dreams. So just your goals. I think I really went hard in the paint with the dream thing, but again, the versatility is there. So a sketchbook. So for all of you artists, illustrators, cartoonists out there, sketchbooks are phenomenal. So we have a author on Lulu. His name's Lorenzo Etherington. Amazing artist and graphic designer, illustrator. If you're not familiar with him, check him out. He is half of the Etherington brothers. So his brother writes and he draws, and they have a phenomenal just portfolio of work that they've done. I have several of his books and they're all great. And he has a lot of sketchbooks that he creates on Lulu. And so for Lorenzo, he's really teaching you how to draw. So there are tutorials that walk you through all these different aspects of drawing and cartooning. But what would be really cool is if you wanted to include a sketchbook with that. So bundling that together, adding more value and inviting his readers to really experience that content in maybe a different way. So of course, if you're selling a sketchbook or you're selling a book on how to draw, then you're anticipating that the user is going to go somewhere to actually draw and be practicing those methods. So if he wanted to create a sketchbook and bundle that with his books that he sells, with his tutorials, that would be a great way to add value. He could even continue the branding to the notebook, of course. That would be really fun. I'll talk about this in a minute, but the bespoke and customization nature of projects like this is just unlimited. I mean, so again, going back to this example, maybe Lorenzo says, hey, if you buy this bundle, send me your name. I'll create a specific sketchbook for you with your name in it. Or what's your favorite color? I can do it in that palette. So a lot of really great opportunities for you to really create something specific for your audience. Of course, that's going to take time and sort of dictate what your audience is, who they are and what they're interested in and what they come to you for. So again, a sketchbook, Lorenzo has a great following. He has a lot of fans. So for him, that might make sense to say, hey, send me your name. And then they love that interaction. They like connecting with them. He could do something like that. But maybe you are in a different field, or maybe you write nonfiction or something. And so if you're writing maybe a nonfiction book about just mental health, then probably the people buying that aren't going to want to message you their name so you can make them a custom notebook. But even still, even in that example, if you're selling a book about, how to manage stress or maintain a really healthy outlook or perspective, then having a journal to couple with that so someone can kind of track what their thinking patterns are, how they're feeling after they're ingesting your content, that might be a really nice way to add value and create a little bundle, upsell a little bit. Lyric journal. So we all love songs. Most of us do. We like music. But, sometimes you can't remember that lyric or that lyric that meant so much to you and really helps you get through that breakup. What is it a year later? Who knows? So lyrics, music is so tied to memory. When you hear a song, you're transported to another place. So maybe you are a musician, maybe you have your own lyrics that you want to share, or maybe you want to help people kind of learn different parts of the guitar. So you put the lyric and music together, things like that. We've seen that on Lulu, and that's an amazing application here as well. All right, and getting through these really quickly is the genealogy. So we all have family trees. What's going on back there? Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of platforms today, obviously, such as Ancestry or things like that can help you figure out, your past, good and bad. And so maybe creating a genealogy journal. We have someone who actually does workshops on genealogy and uses Lulu to publish her best practices on how to look back through your family tree and find out what's going on. And so she could create a notebook that's like, hey, that has different fields that are populated to help you fill out the family tree. Here's what you learned. Here's what you need to follow up on. Here's where your resources are. So I really like that application as well. And then last but not least, bucket list. So what do we want to do before we kick it? I guess. So why not make it fun? Help your audience really connect with the goals that they have, with what they want to achieve, and prioritize how to get there. We all have a limited amount of time, so making sure that your priorities, your goals, your dreams are kind of at the forefront of the way that you're planning out your life is not a bad thing. So this is a lot of examples. I think maybe an overkill. I think you get it at this point, but I really just wanted to share with you how valuable this can be for your business. So again, the very basic and minimal application here is just creating a notebook with your logo and your branding on it, and having that at events or available in your shop, or, somebody in the checkout process, something like that. But there are so many applications. And so, when we're going through the questions later today, something fun could be, tell me what you're working on, and I will tell you how to low no content it. Well, we'll see. Stay tuned. So maybe we go in the Q&A. If you have anything, you can drop it in now. Let me know what you're working on. And if you're unsure how you can connect the dots between low and no content publishing and what you're working on, let me know. Let me see what I can come up with. Okay, so we know what it is. We know all the myriads, low and no content publishing, all the different forms it can take. I kind of showed the tip of the iceberg there, I would say. So now how can you use this to grow your business? So I was kind of going in and out of this before when I was going over each example and trying to apply it to, I think, relevant, businesses or genres or sectors. But here I wanted to get a little bit more specific. So obviously selling copies of your branded journals and notebooks, of course. So we talk a lot about selling direct on Lulu, and more we talk to our authors. We want to talk about we want to talk to our authors about how you can create a sustainable business from your writing, because it's not just selling the book. That's great. And if you are in a place where you published a book and you sold so many copies, you were able to hang up your hat and never work again, you should be doing this webinar. Please connect with me, because that's amazing. And it can happen. We hear stories of that. Obviously, there's a lot of work that goes into that. But really, I think the better and more holistic way to think about this is, how can I create content that's going to support my business? So how can I create books or podcasts or YouTube videos or white papers, build an email list? So doing all these smaller pieces that really will build something sustainable that's going to carry you through the longevity of your business, and building a community that's going to help support you, as you kind of go through and begin growing your platform and your audience. So, of course, the easiest one here, create a notebook and sell it on your website. So that's a great way to get started with this. Of course, just diversify your offerings, what all you have in your store, and selling this through your website is a great way to do that. So that would be the first one. But then giveaways for events or promotions. So I talked about this with Lulu specifically. We always bring a lot of notebooks and swag to events, because not only is it a great way, as I mentioned, to keep our brand front and center, we can also have a highly, highly customized message that we know is going to resonate with this audience that we're in front of at that time. And it's also a lead magnet. So in the days, months, or weeks after that conference or that event, your branding is still there. I mean, these people are still interacting with the content that you gave them. So, it can be more of a long game where you're building a funnel where it may not be immediately they get the notebook and that day you're going to convert a sale or get them as a customer. But when they have that in their hand, when they go to write down, jot down their grocery list or write down their dream journal or whatever, then they start to see your branding, and they're flipping through, seeing your messaging again. So you're just giving yourself more opportunities to connect with your audience, and more opportunities to convert them into customers, readers, followers, whatever your CTA and your goals are there. So I love these for giveaways and events. I mean, people love a notebook. They love the opportunities and the optimism of a blank page. So I always enjoy those. And again, really a lot of opportunities there for a CTA. Do you want them to join your email list? Do you want them to, go to your website and download the first chapter of your book? Do you want them to follow you on social media? So customization out the wazoo. It's endless. So bundling the project with a speaking tour. So I talked a little bit about bundling things and adding in notebooks or lower no content publishing with other projects that you might have working or you might have going on. So bundling the project with a speaking tour is a great way to do that. So we've talked about this before, but maybe some of you are familiar with the term back of the room books. So this is just when you publish a book and then you go find different platforms or conferences or events you can speak at that are relevant to your expertise. So going back to, if you wrote a book about mental health, so you want to go to conferences where that is the main topic, where people are trying to figure out strategies of, how to maintain the positive outlook or deal with mental health or, manage mental health crises when they come up, or how to communicate them with family members or whatever it is. So if you want to go find conferences that are really relevant to that, then you can go to the person who's booking the speaker and say, hey, not only am I a subject matter expert because I've written this book on it, but if you pay the speaker fee, I'll include this many books, or will you let me sell my books at the conference? So that is such a great way to, again, kind of create that sales funnel where you go to a conference, you have a speaking event, so people hear you speaking on your topic of expertise. Of course, you're charming and engaging and they love you. And then you say, great, thank you so much. Come meet me at the back of the room. I've got a book. If you enjoyed this content, I've expanded on this with this book. And then there, maybe you have your accompanying notebook or journal that really helps your readers get the most out of your content. It could walk them through like a reading plan or, an action item or a workbook that has, like I said, action items or takeaways after each chapter. really helping them connect and get the most out of your content. You're the author. You're the one that made this. So you know the intended way for people to really receive it and interact with it. And sometimes a workbook or journal can be a really nice way to make sure they're getting through the journey the way that you wanted them to. All right, so including the project with an online course. So online courses are so popular right now. They're just growing in popularity. Everybody is creating and selling an online course. So for an independent author or business person or anything that you want to share on your topic of knowledge or expertise, a course is a great way to do that. You can do them pre-recorded, you can do them live, but including a workbook or journal or notebook as a part of that can help you offer it at a higher price point, elevate the content, and then it just shows the people who are signing up for that course that you really care, that you really invested in this project. It's not just something that you filmed on your iPhone when you were like walking to the store. You took time to do it. You took time to create a curated list or a curated project of content that's going to help them get through, again, whatever you're working on and get through the experience with the best possible outcome. So another really, really good application there. And then I've mentioned this a couple of times, but using the journal, notebook, or workbook as a lead funnel. So whether you sell these, whether you give them away, whether you bundle it with a speaking opportunity or a course, using them as a lead funnel is amazing because, again, you can put whatever CTA you want. So maybe for the next 3 months, you're really focused on growing your social media presence. So maybe you create a notebook that you want to give out or create a notebook for sale that's all about CTAs to follow you on social media, whatever channel that is. Or maybe your email list, you want to grow that. So then your notebooks will say, hey, thank you so much for picking this up. Please sign up for my email list and then have the URL there. Another fun one that I've seen is, depending on what your content is, share this message with a friend. If you'd like to order another notebook like this to give out to a friend or family member, use this discount code. And then you can kind of really track what that life cycle is for your customers, how they're interacting with your content, and if that's a good lead magnet. Are people using that code to buy other books or to buy services from you? So maybe you're a consultant and your notebook CTA is book a call with me. So if you like the content in here, maybe you give a brief rundown of your background or what your area of expertise is. And then at the bottom of that, you're like, hey, thanks so much for grabbing this notebook, for stopping by to visit with me. The conversation doesn't have to end here. So how about book a call? I'll give you a 15-minute call for free or something like that. So again, I think anywhere you are in your writing journey, in your publishing journey, in your entrepreneurial or business journey, there's probably a way that you can leverage low or no content publishing to help grow your audience and boost your brand. And, have the opportunity to make some revenue from it as well, which is also always nice. Okay, so now I want to talk to you a little bit about what you need to get started. So I had mentioned ad nauseum at this point that low and no content publishing takes so many forms that you can really customize it to be really specific to your audience and have multiple versions. So with Lulu and any other print-on-demand platform, well, I won't say any other. So if you are shopping around for print-on-demand providers, be sure to take a look into if they have minimums or maximums. So at Lulu, we don't have any minimums. So you can create one book, one version of 5 notebooks. So maybe you want to go with like one notebook for every, well, this would be more than 5, so 12 maybe. So, but one notebook for every month, or you want to do signs of the zodiac, or you want to do seasonal, or maybe botanical. We see people going all over the place with these themes. So whatever you want to do, thinking of creating like 5 different notebook covers, and then you have these 5 different products that are available on your store that are different, that as your readers come to it, they have a way to customize and interact with the content the way that they prefer, choosing their favorite color palette or their favorite season or whatever options you have available. So what you need is a cover and an interior file. So you can see here, we have a landing page. I think it's like under our create page. If you just go to the home page and go into the create page, you will see our notebooks landing page. This is where this is pulled from. Anna Marie, gold star Anna Marie. She dropped the link in there because she's amazing. So you can visit that page to see some of our most popular formats for notebooks. So I've got some of them here. You can see the A5. That's a nice little compact size. 100 pages is usually where we see these notebooks, but of course, you can take and leave whatever of this information that you want. If you wanted to go like a 8.5 by 11 landscape portrait, I don't know if that exists, but you can do that if you want. So a US trade, obviously 6 by 9, very popular book format, very popular for novels and things like that, but also great for a notebook. And then US letter. So I like this example as well. US letter, of course, is just your standard printer paper size. Gives you a ton of room to write, to scribble, draw, plan, whatever you need. So really just be considerate and intentional about what you want your customers, your readers, your audience to get out of these products so that you can curate a really good experience for them. So again, if you go to our landing page here, you can see what we have available. And a little bit farther down, we've got our templates. So I said you'll need two things to make a notebook. You'll need an interior file and a cover file. We can help you with both. So again, if you were like, this sounds great, I'm ready to get started today, I want to have a notebook up immediately available for sale, order a proof copy, of course. I know you're all responsible publishers, so you'll do that. But you can go to lulu.com/notebooks, lulu.com/create/notebooks, and you can download our interior pages. So we have taken some of the work, some of the guesswork out for you. We have 100 and 200 lined pages and templates that are ready to go. So if you say, hey, I just want to put my logo on the cover of a notebook and I want the interior to be blank, we can help you there. So you can just go to this page, download whichever one you like. So we've got blank, we've got lined, graph interior pages, a dot grid, which can be fun. So whichever one you feel like is going to really resonate with your audience and make the most sense for you, grab that template, download it, and then you can be on your way to upload and create the project. These templates are free. You can just download them, and then they're all formatted for our wizard, so you won't have any issues uploading them as you go through the publishing process. So very convenient way to get started with low and no content publishing there. So I'm going to pull this window down a little bit, start to improve the lighting. All right, so then we've also got planner interior bundles. So if you think, okay, well, my content is really going to be more geared towards helping people establish a habit or kind of looking out for a 1 to 3 month program, a planner is a great way to help your users, followers, readers, customers keep track of that. And so this can take a lot of different forms. So we have created for you a 12-month weekly undated planner. So again, that can be really nice. I mean, obviously it's great to see, a planner specifically for 2022, but if you want your content to have a bit of a longer shelf life and that anyone can grab it. So what month are we in? What time is it? Time isn't real. I guess it's May. So it's May right now. If I'm like, hey, I really want to focus on, my nutrition for the next 3 months, having an undated planner can be a great way that anyone at any time of the year can hop into your program and get started, tracking their results and their experience. So that's a great option there. A 12-month weekly undated planner and habit tracker. So we're kind of coupling those together. I also want to mention right now that this is a great, like as I went over those examples of what low and no content publishing can be, mix and match. You can put those together if you want. If you want to have, a time to like music lyrics. So you want to be able to remember or have your users remember some lyrics that they like that was meaningful to them. Maybe on the other side of that page, you put a place for reflection. Why? What were you going through? What did this mean to you? Why did this resonate? So there's a lot of different ways to kind of mix and match and couple something together to make something really, really unique and special and beneficial for your audience. And then the last one that we have on this page is our 6-month daily and monthly planner. Pretty self-explanatory, but again, really nice for if you have something that's, a half-year time period or you have a 6-month program that you want to help people with, or if you just want to kind of create some smaller or shorter content to kind of get people in the door, get started, especially if you want to think about using these for giveaways or freebies, doing a shorter notebook, of course, will help you with your cost. All right, so this video I wanted to play for you, but I cannot. You can find this video on our YouTube channel, but really this is a great little tutorial that is just going to walk you through directly the publishing process on Lulu. So by going through this video, I think, and Anna Marie will drop the link in there, but if you just go to our YouTube channel and type in Lulu University or go to our YouTube channel and type in Lulu Publishing Steps, you're going to be able to see this. And so it's just a great tutorial that's walking you through exactly what you need to do. So once you grab your interior file from lulu.com, once you have your cover, so you can either use our templated covers that we have within our wizard or go to Canva. We have an integration with Canva right in our publishing wizard. So it makes it so easy to make a really nice looking cover. So I encourage everybody to just play around with that if you haven't already. So that's a great way to get started. So grab your interior file, create your cover, or grab a cover, from creating your own or working with a designer. Put those together in our wizard and you're ready to go. So check out this video if you do want to see just a step-by-step what the publishing wizard looks like if you're not familiar with what our upload process is. And thank you so much, Anne Marie. All right, so at this point, I have talked a lot. I've talked about what no low content publishing is. I have given you some examples of how to use it, how you could apply it for your business or authorship or readership. And I've also shown you some ways that you can use it to monetize the content and sell them or just create more opportunities for your business. That's all well and good, but let's prove that people are actually doing this. So I hope that I can continue using this. So this is Joe Exotic. If you don't know who this is, just Google it and treat yourself. All right. So these are some notebooks that are just on Lulu's bookstore. So our bookstore at lulu.com has a great variety of really, really beautiful notebooks and journals. So this is just kind of another example of what I was saying earlier. It can take so many different forms when you're creating something like this. So I loved just pulling these from our homepage. If you go to our bookstore, I think that you can find them there. But you can see, I mean, even things that I did not include. I mean, I thought that was a pretty good list, but you can see that again, the possibilities are endless. So journaling for non-journalers, that's a fun approach to it. So inviting people who like, well, I may not have time to write, or I don't want to do this, but maybe you know the benefits of journaling. And so this is a good way to get started. The ultimate interview journal. Again, wonderful applications for anyone who is working in a small business or trying to grow their business and going through the interview process. Or the flip side of that, if you yourself are looking for a new job and going through interviews, being able to write down, oh, that question kind of stumped me, or I don't think I really gave my best answer there, or, I wish I would have said this instead of this, all those things that happen. One time I was interviewing somebody for Lulu and I asked them what their book title would be posthumously instead of posthumously. And that was very embarrassing. And I would have written that down to make that correction if I had that journal. All right. So next up, music practice journal. And again, a very practical application of what this could be. The 365 gratitude journal. So as I said, very popular on Lulu. The money journal. What is that saying? That if you don't track where your money's going, then you'll wonder where it went or something like that. So when you look at your bank account at the end of the month and it's just a tumbleweed rolling through it, maybe a money journal where you're tracking your spending could be helpful for that, or your followers, or your audience. Write for your life journal. Again, a writing journal, building a writing habit. We love to see that. I really like this next example too. So a world explorer travel journal for kids. I love that idea. So it will be summer soon. Everybody's getting ready to go on vacation. So having, I've noticed this as I've gotten older. I wish I would have written things down more. I know that whenever I was growing up, my mom had one of these, and it was like the bane of our existence when she would ask us to write, and then we hated that. But now that I'm older, I'm like, I wish I wouldn't have been such a brat and would have written more. I love looking back at this and just remembering what this space and time in my life was like. So that's always a really fun one, and it can be a really fun activity for families. So plant care journal. Plant care exploded during the pandemic. Everyone's trying to beautify their space and their air. So having a plant care journal, it's like, hey, this was green yesterday. It's a weird shade of not green now. What's up with that? So being able to track those things and gardening, I think would be another great application for that. This next one is something I had not seen before, but I think could be really therapeutic or very cathartic. A note to a loved one that you've lost. So, a heavy topic for notebooks and journals, but something that can be really helpful, I think, in the healing process. Daily affirmations. Who doesn't love to start the day with hey, you're doing great. You're awesome. Why not? That's a great way to start it. So giving your followers a way to start their day with some positive intention. The daily draw, again, and a good habit tracker, a habit building opportunity there. And then last but not least, yoga journal. So yoga, it's a journey, there's a lot of endurance and learning that goes into that, a lot of different ways to do it. So being able to kind of really reap the benefits by saying, I notice more flexibility or mobility, I'm feeling better, more energy, all of those things that can also, not only help your users get through a program or content that you've created, but also really help them connect the dots and understand how valuable your program, your expertise, your information was, and helping them kind of get from the place they started to the place they end up. And then for them to be able to see that represented through a journal or, a notebook or wherever they're keeping this information can really help to build trust and loyalty to your brand. I mean, it's right there in front of them. They wrote down over 12 weeks because I worked with your content, I am benefited in blank ways. So having that can be really helpful in reinforcing your brand and your credibility. Okay, so I talked a little bit about Lulu Direct. So if you're not familiar, Lulu Direct is our e-commerce channel. So where we have e-commerce plugins and solutions. So right now we have a e-commerce integration with WooCommerce as well as Shopify. Clever Girl Finance is using, I believe, our Shopify integration. She is a wonderful, wonderful business owner. She has an incredible program helping people understand their finances and plan for longevity, financial freedom. Those are all things that we think would be great. So on her site, she has books that are traditionally published that obviously help her readers get through, understand what financial freedom is, understand what that pathway looks like for them. And then with Lulu, she uses us to make her finance planners. So again, adding so much value and really making sure that the way that she wants her readers to interact with her content is the way that they're going to be able to do that to get the most out of it. So it's one thing to read a book about finance or financial freedom or getting your finances in line, but it's another thing to actually have to act on that information. So selling the book with a business planner, it kind of, again, makes the end user kind of level up their accountability or make a commitment to say, okay, not only am I buying this book, but I'm also buying like the action plan that goes with it. So I know that I'm more likely to stay on track. So I really like what she did here. I think it's really smart use of, not only low and no content publishing, but also, she's got her traditionally published books, but she's expanding her offering and going with self-publishing for something like this to make more, options available, more opportunities available. And so I think that, again, a really, really smart way to integrate all these different options and opportunities that are available to entrepreneurs these days. All right, so I love these. These are through the lulu.com bookstore. So Katie Kilby is one of our creators, and so I just love all the different notebooks that she has. So this is a handful. I think she has a couple others, but this is just the same interior, 4, 5 times, 8 times. I think, she's got several different offerings, but she just does all these different really fun designs that look great. They're really clean. So any, people who are looking for, something kind of low key or minimalist, or people who are really into plants or florals or abstracts or colors, she's kind of running the gamut and making sure that someone who needs a notebook is going to be able to find something from what she's created. I don't know how long it took her to make these. I don't know how long it took her to create these, but spending a day, a week, or even a month creating, a handful of different covers, you've already got the content. You can download the content for free today from Lulu and have your notebook ready to go, and then just play around with your cover and make something really customizable, really specific to your brand, or having a product up here. This is really would be useful for folks that are selling direct. You could create a product card that is a notebook and just say, hey, if you want to have, your dog's face on it, or you want your kids' names, or you want your name, or you want your favorite quote or favorite colors or whatever on here, contact me. You can buy this. If you're familiar with Etsy at all, sometimes Etsy will have specific listings. You could do something like that, create a specific customized listing. Your users buy that, then you're able to modify that notebook, create something really customizable for them, make a bespoke gift for them. People love things like that. So another way to think about it, another opportunity for you there. And I think I'm about ready to stop talking. Yes, but not yet. So I did want to share with everyone. So we are launching today, now it's happening, our publishing accelerator course. So Lulu, as I talked about how important and how popular courses are, I said that purposefully. So today we are so excited to announce that we are releasing our Publisher Accelerator course. So probably if you are just interested in publishing low or no content, you don't need us. You don't really need us for that. That's okay. But if you are working on, if you got your manuscript ready to go, but you're not sure best practices on formatting or how to work with a cover designer or getting through the publishing process, then join us. So this will be a 4-week interactive class. We're going to do live trainings once a week. There'll be 90 minutes. So it'll be an hour of instruction with 30 minutes of a Q&A. So come, bring your questions, bring your frustrations, bring your hopes and dreams so we can all talk about them together. At the end of the course, you'll have your proof copy in hand and you'll know how to publish your work like a professional. You'll know everything that goes into creating a beautiful, successfully published book. So I like to tell people, when I first started working at Lulu, it was very much the conversation was like traditional publishing versus self-publishing. And now I think it's really successful publishing versus unsuccessful publishing. We've all seen traditionally published books that looked ugly or that, weren't done well. We've all seen self-published books that, have unfortunately fallen to that same fate. Likewise, there are self-published books that you could put in any bookstore beside any bestseller list that would fit right in and look just like the others. So what we want to do with this program is really equip you with all the information you need to just publish like a professional, get your content out there looking amazing, and not having any questions about, do I need an ISBN? Is my copyright set up appropriately? Are my ducks in a row? Did I lay the right foundation to be successful with this book? So if you are interested in that, please visit the link that Anna Marie just dropped in here. She's a wizard. And so if you're interested in signing up, please do. The course will start June 7th. So you have some time. We're going to send out what a great tie-in. We created a workbook for this. So it is not low or no content. It is very filled with content, but we have a lot of blank pages in there after each week, after each section, to help you, again, interact with the content in the best way, make sure you're getting the most out of it. We've got action items as well as additional resources so that we can help you connect the dots and leave this course, leave this program with the confidence and knowing how to publish your work, start your own publishing imprint, publish the work of others. So a lot of opportunities there. We are very, very excited. This is our first course, so please join us, or tell your friends if now's not a good time for you. That's okay. All right, so really now I will stop talking and let you ask questions or see if, so right here we've got the chat, and we also have a Q&A. So if you have a question and you want to drop it in the Q&A, please feel free, and I will just take a minute to take a sip of water and scroll through and see what questions we've got. Let's see. All right. So Brea said, as a genealogist, I'm interested in how to brand my work or how people can find the books I write. Oh, well, this is a double question, I guess. But how would you brand your book? So if you're a genealogist, then do you already have your business set up? Do you already have your website? So I'll go back to an example of the journal for people who don't journal. So that was a really interesting take on, obviously we've all seen journals and notebooks that are, invite people to write things down, but this person kind of took that and flipped it on its head. So it's like, okay, journals, we're familiar with that, but some people don't like to journal. How can I reach that audience? So if you're working as a genealogist and there's a specific angle, or maybe like I said, Ancestry or these DNA products that are available right now, maybe you don't want to go that route. So maybe your notebook is genealogy for the group that's not on Ancestry. That's not a good title. So it's not very catchy, but maybe you target the folks who aren't on Ancestry or who aren't using, these other programs out there. They want to do something more grassroots. So you're teaching them how to go to the library, how to look through old records and old newspapers, or just little known websites that maybe helped you build your business or on your journey. So if you're a genealogist, you probably have some insight about how to really successfully research and find out more about your family history and your family tree. So maybe it's a best practices journal on how to make sure that those details that maybe you don't think are important or relevant, making sure that you have the trained eye to really get the most out of the information that you're receiving, that you're finding in your research. So for branding, I would just say whatever the name of your website is, or however you kind of present your business using that branding. Getting a logo if you don't have one would be another great way to help tie the name and the symbol together so people can more easily identify and recognize your brand. And then the second question is how people can find the books I write. So this one is a bit more complicated than just tell them. I mean, definitely tell people that your books are available and where they can find them. But also what you'll want to do is think about, again, what is making your book unique? So genealogy, it seems like it's become more and more popular with the tools that are available to you that we can all just kind of get on our laptops and then be transported back several hundred years to what our family was doing. So maybe if that is what you want to do, then you can find that SEO, what people are searching for. Are people going to Google and saying, how do I learn more about my family? What is my family history? How can I learn more about genealogy. So Answer the Public is a really good website you can go to and type in genealogy. And then that website will tell you what people are searching for in regards like who, what, when, where, why. So why is genealogy important? What can I gain from learning about my family? Where can I go to find out about my family history? So trying to figure out what people are searching for and making sure that your content has those keywords in it. And so that you're getting served up when people are searching for that, your company, your brand, your workbook is going to come up at the top of those search results. So I would say finding out who your target audience is, what is your unique offering that other people in the genealogy field aren't offering or aren't talking about, and then making sure that you're really understanding what those keywords are, what those searches are. So how is your ideal customer coming to the internet to find information? What are they looking for? What questions are they asking to get to the bottom of their genealogy and get more information about their family tree, and making sure that your content mirrors that language so that it is served up at the right time. All right. So thank you for that question, Brea. All right. So LaShonda is saying, I have completed an affirmation book. How do I publish it? Well, it just depends on what your goals are. So if it's a print book, so Lulu, we publish, so we'd love to have your book. So it would just be, are your files in a size that we accept? As I mentioned, you'll just need 2 PDFs to publish on Lulu, 1 interior file PDF and 1 cover file PDF. They do, of course, have to be sized appropriately. But I would say if you have completed your affirmation book, if it's not formatted or not completed in that aspect yet, you could always join our publishing accelerator course if you're interested. But another way to do that would just be go to our book pricing calculator. So that's lulu.com/pricing. Yes. And you can put in, what are you looking for? I will say coil bound, I love for notebooks just because they lay flat. You can flip them around. It's easier to write in. But perfect bound makes a really nice notebook hardcover as well. So you have a lot of opportunities there. But build your book, figure out what you want, what kind of binding, what kind of cover type you want, how many pages. Then you can spit out your templates that are going to work for our platform if you haven't done that already. So how do you publish it? I would say lulu.com is a great place to start. You can sell it through our bookstore. Also, if you have your own website, you can use our e-commerce integrations to sell directly through your website. Not worry about overhead or inventory or anything like that. So a couple of different ways that you can do that. So thank you for that question. All right, Desiree said, I created a spiral notebook, but I'm unsure how to get people to Lulu to purchase it. Again, a couple of different ways to do that. So are you active on social media? You can obviously share the link to your shop page on Lulu on your social media channels. If you've got that email list, I feel like we're always talking about nurture your email list. So as you're growing your email list, share your notebooks with your email list. Say, hey, I just put this out. Maybe you run a promo. Maybe you want to do it on sale. Maybe you're going to discount the price. Share it with your email list. Obviously, tell friends and family, but get creative with it. What is your notebook about? Is it just, is it for sketching? Is it for dream journaling? Is it for gratitude? And then figure out who that target audience, who is your ideal reader or user for this notebook? What do you want them to get out of it? And then go find that person, where they are, or those people, where they are, where they hang out, and make sure that you're getting your messaging in front of them. But of course, kind of the obvious or easy answers would be social media, email list, share it on your website, any community groups or forums you're in, put it there as well. And best of luck, and thank you for those questions. And I see Anne Marie is just a wizard. She's already answering these questions, so I hope I'm not boring you here. Okay, so Liz is saying, if you use a template cover, can you add a review on the front cover instead of the back? Yes. So if you use the cover templates, you can manipulate those however you want. And if you have something you really want to customize, I would just recommend going into Canva. So when you're in our publishing wizard and you get to the cover step, you will see an opportunity to either upload your own cover, create a cover with Lulu templates, or go into Canva to create your cover. So I would recommend, if you do have something in mind that's really customizable, Canva is really great for that. They have a lot of templates, but just a lot of room for you to move stuff around until it works for you, until you see what you like. So if you want to put a review on the front cover, you absolutely can do that. And I would just recommend trying out one of those platforms as well. We do have a lot of tutorials, we have a video tutorial as well as a webinar about using Canva to create your cover. So check that out if you're not sure where to start. And thank you for that question. Let's see, Melissa, are those PDFs editable? Maybe I want to include images between some of the pages. So I think that you can edit them, but you'd have to have that software. PDFs, I know, can be kind of finicky with editing, but I would just recommend doing a Google search. If you have Adobe PDF, then you can edit them. So it's not like we have them locked or anything. So you should be able to, as long as you have the software, edit them, change up or add whatever you want. All right. All right. This is ISBN question from Catherine, which Anna Marie is on fire. Does a notebook need an ISBN if you're only selling it on Lulu? I'll just answer this generally for anyone else who might have this question. But no, I mean, you can sell anything you want through the lulu.com bookstore without an ISBN. And notebooks and journals, so if you want to go into distribution, which we really didn't talk about in this presentation, but we distribute through Amazon, Ingram, and Barnes & Noble. And any project you want to put in distribution does need to have an ISBN assigned. However, if you want to sell the book just through lulu.com's bookstore or through your own website with our e-commerce integrations or a print API, you do not need to have an ISBN for that. But if you are in a situation where you do need an ISBN, we do provide them for free, or you can bring your own. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So let's see. Are there any? Okay, Joanne. Okay, got it. Oh, Joanne, great. Yes, please join us for our publishing course. I would love to have you. Let's see. Yes, so Melissa, we do have spiral binding. So yes, definitely check that out. Again, I love that for workbooks. It's always my favorite notebook format. But I will say, the perfect bound is a great presentation, but for practicality, big fan of coil bound. All right. I'd like to have my own publishing imprint. The accelerator program helps with that. So, Haven, that's a great question. We can help you with that. So essentially what you're going to learn in the publishing program is how to set up your metadata and your copyright information. So once you have your metadata set up, you can use that to start your own publishing imprint, because essentially your metadata is the information that's recorded in your ISBN. So we will be going over everything you need to know about ISBNs, the information that's recorded in ISBNs, what booksellers and distributors are seeing from that number, what that means to them. And so if you go through the course, you will understand what the ISBN is, how that plays into your metadata, and how you can use metadata to set up your own publishing imprint. In the meantime, we also have a Lulu U video. I believe it's just called how to use metadata to set up your own publishing imprint. So check that out as well. But yes, we will be covering that. When you get through the course, you'll know all about how to set up all that information appropriately on the front end, so you can move forward and establish your own publishing imprint if you are so interested. All right. Okay, so Brea, my books are based on surnames, not the research of genealogy. Well, that's even more interesting. That's a great way for a notebook. And you could, I love that, because I could come to you, my surname is Goodnight. So I could be like, hey, my last name is Goodnight. Can you make me a custom notebook that has some information in it on how I can find this, and throw my family crest on there or something like that. So you could offer something like that, where you say, tell me your surname, I will make a custom notebook for you that helps you kind of walk through learning more about it, and then has a beautiful cover as well. All right. So yes. So Smart is saying, is there a cost for the course? Yes. The course is $99.99, I think. So $99.99 4-week course. And so you can find all that information on the link that I dropped in there. All right. So we are just over the top of the hour, but I'm going to hop into, let's see, and see if there are any questions in the Q&A. All right, if you wanted to publish erotica, is this something Lulu could help me with, or should I publish somewhere else? So, of course, we love erotica at Lulu. We love all genres and types of books. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very popular genre. You can absolutely publish that with us. So, all you need, you just have to bring your interior file, your cover file, go through the prompts and publish. We do have a flag or a tag for explicit content. So, you would just need to denote that so that we make sure the right eyes and the right people are getting to that content. So that would really be the only consideration there. But of course, that is a genre that we publish. All right. And one more question from Michelle. Purchased more than a couple ISBNs years ago from Lulu, but never published. I don't know where that info went. Is there any way to find it? That is a good question. Email me. So my email is right here. Again, I'm Chelsea. My email is cbennett@lulu.com. Let me look into that for you. I'm not exactly sure. I feel like that has to be somewhere, but there's also a website that you can use that will update your ISBNs if they're old. But Michelle, send me any information that you have about that with your account information, and I can connect with our customer service team and see what we can do there. And thank you for those questions. All right. All right, last question, Joanne. June 7th is a Tuesday. Yes. So our paid courses will be on Tuesdays. And then our webinars, our free webinars that we'll continue doing, of course, are on Wednesdays. So our course, if you're interested, will be held from 12 to 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, starting June 7th. And it'll go through every Tuesday through June. So as I mentioned, we've got 50 spots available for this course. So please sign up if you are interested. We will send out a workbook and then some Lulu swag, some fun stuff to get through the course, and we'll go through it all together. So and we have, if you go into the Teachable platform, you'll see all the curriculum, but essentially we'll start with formatting and copyright, how to find templates, how to get the trim size right, what you need to be looking for in a trim size, and what kind of the implications are for the trim size that you may choose. Then we'll go into cover design. So of course, our recommendation is always to work with a professional. However, even if you go that route, you need to know what to look for, and you need to know how to set yourself up for success and how to have that conversation that is going to be productive with your graphic designer so that you're on the same page. You know what you like and what you don't like, and you can end up with something really beautiful. So we've got our crack team of our creatives. Our creative director is actually kind enough to host that course. He's going to be going through Photoshop and best practices, walking through the anatomy of a book cover. And then the third week, we will talk about uploading to Lulu and ordering your proof. So going through every single step of the way, every process, and again, and then the last one will be sales, like setting goals and talking about a little bit about sales, what to do when your proof is appropriate or when your proof looks great. So we're going to be showing you again how to get through this process and be successful and have a really beautiful, nice looking book at the end. So smart. Can this course be free? This course, we put a lot of effort into it. This one is not going to be free, but we will always continue to offer free content such as these webinars. And we have a library of information on our YouTube channel, a ton of webinars that have a lot of topics that can help you get through the process without having to pay. But this is really a more hands-on curated experience. We want to be able to answer your specific questions to make sure that you get through the process with what makes the most sense for you. And Philip is saying, will the courses be recorded to view if I miss one? Yes, absolutely. Every course will be recorded. We'll do them live first, of course. And then after the recording or after the live presentation is ended, I will upload those recordings to your Teachable account so you can watch them at your leisure or review if you need to. All right. And there's one other question. Okay. So Smart, will you consider adding wire O binding? So actually we do, and this is kind of another thing I was thinking about including in here, but for the wire O binding, we do that for our calendars. So I think at one point, I think some of our printers were using that. I think now we're using the plastic coil, but could change. I mean, with the supply chain, who knows, but that's what we're doing right now. Wire O is for calendars. And then the plastic coil binding is for our coil bound products. All right. Woo. I think we're done here. I kept you guys a little bit late after class. So I appreciate you. Melissa, thank you for the kind words. Again, one last shout out to Melissa. Happy birthday to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us on your very special day. That means a lot. And thank you to all of you, regardless if it is your birthday or just another Wednesday for you, wherever you are today, in the world, in your journey, in your day. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. It means so much. You guys are such a wonderful community. Again, I am Chelsea. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Our next webinar will be at the end of this month. I'll be setting that up today. It'll be an e-commerce AMA, so ask me anything. So we'll be just talking about Lulu Direct, e-commerce for authors, how to get started with your e-commerce store, everything direct sales and e-commerce. So webinars.lulu.com is our webinar landing page. We'll get that updated at the end of this week. Tune in, auto subscribe if you are interested in being a part of our webinars for life. When you sign up for a webinar, you can click auto subscribe and that'll just enroll you into each. And of course, you can choose not to attend if it doesn't work out. All right, you guys, thank you so much for everything. You guys are such a great group. I hope this was helpful. Send me an email if I can help with anything else. Have a fantastic day. Have a great week, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.